Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hello Word, the podcast where we explore the fascinating world of English vocabulary. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm thrilled to have you join me today. Our word of the day is blanket. It's a B2 level noun, and it means a large piece of fabric for warmth. A blanket is something we all probably use every day, especially when it gets a little chilly. Think of it as your go-to source of cozy comfort. So, let's delve deeper into what blanket means and how we can use it in our everyday conversations. A blanket, as I mentioned, is a large piece of soft material, typically woolen or cotton, used to cover someone while sleeping or resting, especially for warmth. Imagine snuggling under a warm blanket on a cold winter's night. That's the essence of what blanket represents. You can find blankets in various sizes, colors, and materials. From the thick, fluffy kind to the light, breathable ones, there's a blanket for every season and preference. Now, let's explore some synonyms for blanket. Words that share a similar meaning and can be used in its place. One synonym is cover. For example, the cover kept me warm on the plane. Another word that comes close is quilt. You might say, my grandmother made me a beautiful quilt for my birthday. Another synonym is duvet. For instance, she snuggled under the duvet and fell asleep instantly. We could also use throw. Example, I grabbed a throw from the sofa and wrapped it around myself. A final synonym for blanket could be wrap. For example, the nurse put a wrap around the patient to warm her. So, as you can see, you can use cover, quilt, duvet, throw, or wrap in place of blanket in various contexts, though there may be subtle differences in meaning. Now, let's think about the opposite meaning, antonyms, words that convey the opposite of warmth and covering. While it's a little tricky to find direct antonyms for blanket, we can consider words related to exposure and coolness. Exposure can be seen as an antonym. As an example, he suffered from exposure after being out in the cold without a blanket. Another option is uncovered. Example, she felt uncovered and vulnerable without her blanket. Another word might be coldness, as in, the coldness of the room made her reach for a blanket. We could even use chill. For example, a chill ran down her spine, so she pulled the blanket tighter. Lastly, we could say air, implying the opposite of being bundled in warmth. For instance, she preferred the feeling of air on her skin rather than being wrapped in a blanket. These words represent the absence or opposite of the warmth and security that a blanket provides. Now, let's think about how you might use blanket in everyday life. You could say, can I borrow a blanket? I'm freezing. Or, I love curling up with a good book and a warm blanket. Another example, the hotel room had extra blankets in the closet. You might also hear, he gave the homeless man a blanket to keep warm. Or even, the baby's blanket is so soft and cuddly. These are just a few examples of how blanket might come up in daily conversations. Here are some more usage examples in sentences and phrases. She spread the blanket on the grass for a picnic. The dog loves to sleep on his favorite blanket. He pulled the blanket over his head to block out the light. The airline provides blankets on long flights. The rescue team provided blankets to the survivors. The blanket of snow covered the entire town. He used a blanket to keep the engine warm overnight. She knitted a beautiful blanket for her grandchild. The stadium offered blankets for sale during the cold game. The lost hikers were grateful for the blanket the search party provided. So, to summarize, a blanket is a large piece of fabric used for warmth. Synonyms include cover, quilt, duvet, throw, and wrap. Antonyms include exposure, uncovered, coldness, chill, and air. It is a commonly used word, found in many everyday situations. Thanks so much for joining me today on Hello Word. I hope you found this exploration of the word blanket helpful. If you enjoyed this episode, Please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your support helps others discover our show and learn new English words. Now, I encourage you to create your own sentence using the word blanket and share it as a comment below. I look forward to reading them. Until next time, happy learning!